Hey everybody, this is Dr. Mark Arcuri in Santa Fe, New Mexico today, and once again I'm outside because I've got to take advantage of this sunshine before the sun goes down this evening and get my vitamin D in. But thank you for coming back for our next installment in our Paradise Rediscovered series here on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and every place else that we can put it. Also at drmarkarcuri.com. In any of those places you can look at all the past episodes as well. But tonight we're going to be moving into chapter 3 of my upcoming book called Paradise Rediscovered. And it's a topic that I absolutely love. I know I say that a lot, but I guess that's why I'm putting them all together in a book. But in chapter 3, I've organized the chapter. I don't have a title for it yet, but I've organized a chapter around something that Byron Katie had written, I should say, in her writings about what she calls the work. And as a little bit of a detour, it is work, folks. Don't let anyone tell you, no matter who you follow. We all have a similar message, and it's what resonates with you that's what's most important. But be assured that it is work. It takes a commitment to make these changes in your life that bring you closer and closer to who you really are. And that is the journey that we're on. And I think, Ram Dass said that we're in this world simply for the purpose of walking each other home. And home is that ultimate point in our life where we transition to the next life. And but in that journey that we're walking each other home on, it's all about rediscovering our true selves, our true essence. And Byron Katie writes about that. I write about that. Wayne Dyer wrote about that. Everybody writes about that. I could go on and on with the names. But this chapter was inspired by a quote that I came across. I'm not sure it's exactly a quote, but it's an idea that Byron Katie talks about. And it has to do with family. And what she writes is, and I'll put this up on the screen for you, sometimes we have never even met our relatives because we're so busy making them who we want them to be. And I wrote about that same concept actually before I'd come across this in Byron Katie's work. That idea of, I wrote about this in A Life Aligned, my first book, A Life Aligned, The Journey to Allowing the Magic in Your Life, and talking about family and family gatherings. I think it was chapter 2. And this idea that we run into difficulties with other people, whether it's family or anyone else, when we start to try to create them in our mold. And in fact, that's what they do to us, and we do it right back to them. But when we're so focused on trying to make others over in our own image, we end up losing not only the essence of who they are, but we lose the essence of who we are as well. Because who we are is not someone that wants to create clones of ourselves, but someone who wants to appreciate the diversity and the ability of other people to express themselves as they are, and to enhance our lives by doing that. And that there's nothing, it would be a boring world if everybody was exactly the same. But this idea of sometimes we've never even met our relatives because we're so busy making them who we want to be, is what chapter 3 in Paradise Rediscovered is organized all around. And the idea, or the truth I should say, I think it's more than an idea, it's a truth. The idea is that we're challenged in our interactions with our family to really practice. We have a lot more latitude with family than we do sometimes with other people in our lives. To be able to practice letting go. And letting go is such an important process in the Paradise Rediscovered model, as well as anybody else's that I've ever read, of letting go of these notions that the world should be as we think it should be, and that other people should be as we think they should be. And letting go of that notion and kind of exploring and experimenting and getting used to this idea, as I mentioned a few moments ago, of diversity and the ability to really be enriched by how other people differ from us instead of asking them to be the same as we are. So Paradise Rediscovered chapter 3 talks about ways to begin experimenting with your family members, people that you may have more contact with than some others, and that contact could be in a non-physical way as well as physical. They may not be here with you in this moment. They may have transitioned on. They may be in another part of the country, another part of the world, but we can always tune into our family no matter what. I think there's an intuitive connection that we can make that's just undeniable, and it's like none other in our lives with friends and other people. So we talk about ways to go about the process of allowing them to be who they are. And You may not be surprised to hear this, but it all starts inside. It all starts within us. You know, you've heard me say many times that consciousness creates reality, and it absolutely does. And the next step in that premise is that if our consciousness creates our reality, then we have to take responsibility for everything without exception that we experience day to day in our reality. And that includes how we experience other people. It includes how we experience our family. So whatever reactions we may have to our family members, we have to start by taking responsibility for having a hand in creating what we are experiencing in this moment that includes that other person. And it is a profound understanding to come to, and I think it takes some time to get to that place, and maybe it needs practice with people who are not quite as triggering sometimes as family can be, but everything in our reality is of our own making. And when we take responsibility for it, and again, responsibility is not blame. I've said that many times, and I hope you understand that. Responsibility, to take responsibility for something, is not to blame yourself. Just like when you give someone else responsibility for something, it's not to blame them. That's a very different animal than responsibility. Responsibility, as I say in A Life Aligned, is response-ability, the ability to respond, that you claim ownership over that ability that we all have. Many of us are very quick to give that away to other people, to give our power away. But anyway, to get back to the point is that when we take responsibility for the experiences in our lives, that may include people like family members that are as they are, but somehow trigger us, and begin to do some clearing work within ourselves, those people begin to change in our experience. And in law of attraction terms, the clearing work is about realigning our energy, in a sense, towards that person, so that that person can only exist in our presence in a way that's consistent with the energy that we are giving out to the universe. So remember that analogy from A Life Aligned and elsewhere of tuning into a radio station, and you can't get country music on a classical station no matter how much you try. You've got to change the signal you're putting out so that you can latch on to the signal that's out there that's a better match to what you want in your experience. But it starts with you. It all starts with you, and you're responsible to do it. Nobody can do it for you. I guess somebody can come and change the radio station for you, but in your inner self, that's not going to happen. So no fantasy there. So we begin to do some clearing work, and my favorite clearing to do is the Hawaiian spiritual practice of Ho'oponopono, and a little bit more of a modern take on that people are teaching, called self-identity Ho'oponopono. Joe Vitale talks about that, a great book called Zero Limits that Joe Vitale wrote on Amazon, and actually I'm not sure that's on Amazon, but it certainly is available as an audiobook if you search for it. Zero Limits. It's all about self-identity Ho'oponopono that he learned from one of the masters, and but it's a way of carrying that responsibility for everything that we experience in the world and doing cleaning around that, so that ourselves are sending out a different vibration and in a place to receive a different experience. And it's very simple. The Ho'oponopono prayer is 4 simple lines. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And I promise you, if you let those 4 lines become a mantra for you, and if you begin to use them throughout the day without even a specific target, but begin to just say those words when you think of it, and say them over and over to yourself. You don't need to be saying them out loud. I often do it when I'm driving. Sometimes when I'm driving, I often work quite a distance from home, and I'll be driving or flying to get there, and I'll just be sitting quietly and kind of repeating those 4 lines to myself over and over, and I sort of get lost in it. But sure enough, every time I do it, my experiences begin to change. I've done it many, many times when I'm on my way to a meeting with a person, and for whatever reason I'm anticipating some difficulty. I'll begin saying those, like I said, when I'm driving or getting there else otherwise. And I meet that person, and every time, without exception, I can't think of an exception, the meeting goes really, really well. Our needs get met, there's no friction, there's no problem, things are beautiful. And so in chapter 3, we talk about doing that with family, and in family gatherings, especially around the holidays when tensions can be a little bit high, and having that mantra written down someplace if you need to, but either way, be able to use it and to say it and to have it going on just in the back of your mind when you're anticipating interactions, or when you're in the interactions themselves, if it's not too distracting to use it, is a way to begin clearing the energy, saying to the universe, I take responsibility for this interaction. And in doing that, and getting back to the beginning comments in this segment, in doing that, you begin to allow people to be who they are. You do the cleaning around your experience of them. And your experience of them changes, but they don't change in who they are, because our experience of anything in our lives really is, it's a reaction to what we see in front of us. So we can clean our experience, we can change that, we can come to peace with anybody and anything in our life if we choose to do that. But it doesn't change that anything or any person. It changes our experience of them. And when we do that, we can begin to see this other person, this family member, for who they really are. And in doing that, when we notice that we're allowing someone else to be who they are, and we're not being triggered, and we're taking responsibility for our response to them, it's also an opportunity then to get a better glimpse of who we are. So it's another clue on that step towards paradise rediscovered, on that journey of rediscovering who you really are in this earth, on this earth, in this moment. So scroll down right now, let us know your comments. What are your thoughts about this whole topic? And later on in the week, you can do it again, scroll down and let us know how it goes. But practice it. And if you don't have family handy, like I said, you can conjure them up in your mind, or you can practice on other people. But practice taking responsibility for your reaction to them, using the Ho'oponopono prayer, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. You're stating your love. You're stating your penance by saying, I'm sorry. You're asking for forgiveness to the universe and to their energy for having created your part of this experience in relation to that person. And remember, you can do this with a thing as well, a situation, not only a person. And then you're saying thank you. Thank you for accepting my penance, for accepting my blessing, for my hand that I've had in this, and you're expressing your willingness to move forward into a new relation in cleaning yourself, and then allowing them to be exactly who they are, that they don't need to change to make you happy. So, lots and lots of love and gratitude to you all this evening from Santa Fe, New Mexico. I want to remind you to go over to drmarkarcuri.com anytime if you're not there now. And you can watch this video and all the others that we've done, get some great free downloads as well that you can access and begin using on your own. And on any of those pages, you can scroll down and give us comments. We can get a dialogue going. I read every one of the comments, and I do respond. You can also do that by email there if you like at drmarkarcuri.com on the contact page. And I do read every one of those and respond as well. And be sure and sign up for every single month for our monthly free giveaways. The free giveaway for this month is a free copy of our upcoming, or not a free copy, but a free entry, a free seat, I guess, in our upcoming A Life Aligned, The Journey to Allowing the Magic in Your Life e-course, which is almost in the can. All the videos are done. Carlos is working hard on them, putting them together, organizing them, and trying to push me to get all the supplementary materials finished so that we can load them up in the course room and get that started in the coming weeks. So thank you so much again. Love and gratitude from Santa Fe. Have a wonderful, wonderful week ahead. I look forward to seeing you next time for the next step on our journey to rediscovery, Paradise Rediscovered. Thanks, everybody. Good night.